I'm DJ
All
Diya
right.
Anantharaman, music director and radio host of An Earthly Machine at KUCR Riverside 88.3, and I'm here with Joe Sutkowski of Dirt Buyer. Dirt Buyer released their most recent album, Dirt Buyer 2, in October of 2023 via Bayonet Records. We have convened across time zones today to chat. Good afternoon, Joe. It's lovely to see you. How are you doing on this fine January afternoon?
Hello, hello. I'm in the basement at work and I'm doing just fine.
Mhm.
Feeling nice.
Good. Yeah.
And I hope everybody else feels nice too.
Yeah. Let's start from the beginning. So I did some digging and learned that Dirt Buyer was born out of Berklee College of Music practice rooms and is largely inspired by your own emo roots with the likes of My Chemical Romance and Muse. Can you tell me a little bit
hmm
more about your musical background and how it influences Dirt Buyer's artistic philosophy?
Sure. I mean, this is kind of maybe goofy, but I remember being in high school. Uh, I I like discovered escapism pretty early on in my
Mhm.
life, and playing music was always one of the things, like maybe the only thing that really helped me to feel grounded. And I don't know, I had kind of a tough time just early on in my life. And then I remember being in high school listening to Muse. There's this one live video of Muse where they're playing a sold out show at Wembley Stadium, and Matt Bellamy walks out and he's got this beautiful red suit. I'd imagine myself in Matt Bellamy's position,
Mhm.
just I don't know, playing songs for a bunch of people that were really stoked on it. Um, I don't really have any direction per se. Dirt Buyer was born out of an accident, is accidentally born. Um, I graduated college and I moved back home with my mom and just kind of rode the high of not being in school anymore for 2 weeks. And then I was like, well, now what? Like something has to happen. So I
Yeah.
ended up moving back to Boston. During that time, I was playing guitar in this band Lady Pills that
Mhm.
is based in Boston with Ruben that started Dirt Buyer with, and uh we would we were trying to we wanted to make a fake record label and just record a bunch of different kinds of music under different names and release those songs under the fake record label. So we were making like noise rock and a bunch of other stuff, and Dirt Buyer was our emo band.
Mhm.
I remember being in a practice room with him one day, and I played the riff for Josephine,
Mhm.
and I was gonna just disregard it. And he was like, "No, we should record that."
Yeah.
So in that moment, Dirt Buyer could have been or not been. Um, but then we just kind of continued doing the emo thing where we'd be in a practice room together. He'd put his iPhone on the floor and we would record the drums and guitar
Yeah.
to the same track, which is what you hear on the first record.
Yeah.
Um,
Beautifully recorded, by
and
the way. I like how
thank
the
you.
guitars are like really front and center. Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Mhm.
Yeah, Ruben mixed and produced it too, and just,
Mhm.
you know, really flexed his magic touch.
Yeah.
Um, so we released that album, and the rest is history. It kind of became my life after that. Like Ruben's not even in the band anymore, and
Hmm.
Dirt Buyer's still a thing. My main influences are artists like Leonard Cohen, Sparkle
Hmm.
Horse, and Elliott Smith, like artists
Yeah.
that like they write songs that can totally stand alone.
Yeah.
If you took all of the production and stuff away, the songwriting is really strong and
Yeah.
lyrically it's just so lyric driven. Um, like I really appreciate Leonard Cohen's academic, streamlined, poetic
Hmm.
way of writing. And
Yeah.
then I like the less academic, uh, like fantastical lyricism of Sparkle Horse
Yeah.
songs and the like in between of Elliott Smith.
I
Um,
definitely noticed the Elliott Smith influence, especially with, I
oh
think,
yeah,
the vocal processing
yeah,
specifically. Yeah.
totally. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's a given for sure.
Yeah.
I think everybody feels the same way about
Oh
Elliott
yeah.
Smith.
Oh yeah. I've definitely seen a lot of artists, um, especially like Alex G, kind of do something similar
Yeah,
with vocals. Yeah.
totally.
Hmm.
Everyone likes Alex G too.
Yeah.
I like I have to not listen to so much Alex G because it will just influence my writing too much. I just really like strong songwriting, like singer-songwriter band
Hmm.
where you start out with a really strong song and you
Yeah.
kind of build it up,
Hmm.
just make it better.
Kind of like Big Thief, probably.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of this album is very somber and elegant, especially the vocals, which remind me a little bit of Jeff Buckley because of their timbre and delivery. I think the guitar riffs are also really spacious and expressive, which I enjoyed. Can you tell me a bit about Dirt Buyer's creative process of this album, along with its emotional landscapes and how they show up through some of your songwriting, vocal, and instrumental choices?
For sure. First, I'm gonna say that is such a huge compliment to compare it to Jeff Buckley because he's just such a beautiful legend
Hmm.
of a musician. Um, the songs were all written in like late-ish 2019, maybe some even before that, and then early 2020, and then recorded in February 2020.
Hmm.
They're all kind of born out of trying to really just figure it out generally, emotionally. There was a lot of stuff that happened that wasn't so sick. And I don't know. I guess that was my way of processing all of the stuff that had happened and was going on
Hmm.
during that time. But yeah, of course, I was listening to a lot of Sparkle Horse and Elliott Smith and was really inspired by just how beautiful the lyrics are. And I don't know, it just feels like a lifetime ago
Yeah.
because it's 2024 now.
Yeah,
And I still feel really attached to those songs, but everything is just so different now.
for sure.
Um, just had a lot going on, and I had a lot of stuff
Yeah.
I was thinking about. I was listening to a lot of music, and I was just trying to write as many songs as I could.
Hmm.
Like keeping it simple, there's just a lot going on, and
Yeah.
I needed to expel a lot of negative energy, and that's just the way it happened with Dirt Buyer too.
Yeah. Just kind of a time capsule of sorts, maybe.
Yeah, all of the releases have been a time capsule that just kind of happened in the moment, and then I moved away from them pretty quickly.
Yeah. No, I definitely get that.
Mhm.
Yeah. I did previously touch on the emo influences, and we did talk a little bit
Oh,
about
right.
Muse and Matt Bellamy, and then we have MCR. And then when I was listening through Dirt Buyer 2, I noticed some gorgeous chords in the guitar riffs and vocal harmonies, coupled with the fact that this album is pretty dynamic with devastating blooms of noise and softer, quieter verses. The lyrical
Mm.
themes of loss and weathering away connections stood out to me the most. I'd like to know what were some of the main inspirations for this project, and that can be other media other than music, literature, religious epiphanies, spiritual occurrences, films, etc.
Um, I discovered William Blake, who is probably my favorite poet. He's like this romantic era guy who, I don't know. Yeah, I think I was watching the Sparkle Horse documentary again back. The Sparkle Horse. I think that he was like the main. I just wanted to know everything that he knew,
Mhm.
and but he in this documentary he mentioned that his main influence for everything was this guy William Blake.
Mm.
So it's like I have to know what this is. I found this book of poems called Songs of Innocence and of Experience, and it just totally changed my life.
Mhm.
Where I always had it on my desk and I would always reference it, looking for a word or like a pretty phrase or sentence or something.
Yeah.
It informed how I wanted to say the things
Mhm.
that I was saying on the record. But yeah, during that time, I had rekindled my love for My Chemical Romance.
Mhm.
Was just like listening to the Black Parade constantly.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Gerard Way is just so dramatic and theatrical, like Jeff Buckley and Matt Bellamy.
Yeah. They're kind of
Um,
like tenor vocalists, probably.
yeah, totally. And
Yeah.
that just kind of seeped into the way I was doing things. It wasn't really even on purpose. It just maybe it was. I don't know.
Hmm.
I know I was really playing. I mean, I dyed my hair red, and I was really playing into the like I don't know dramatic My Chemical Romance thing.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, I think what changed a lot for me was discovering Songs of Innocence and of Experience.
Hmm.
No skips, all bangers.
Yeah. I take it you were pretty excited about the MCR get together reunion.
Oh yeah, I actually
Yeah.
saw them.
Hmm.
Uh, the first big show I ever went to was My Chem on their Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge tour in
Mm.
like 2004 or something.
Hmm. Yeah.
And then 19 years later, I saw them again at the same venue,
Hmm.
and they still sound so crazy good.
Yeah.
Maybe even better at this point.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I feel
love
right during all of
MCR.
that, for
Hmm.
sure. Yeah, I was a former emo kid.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I get it.
you're always gonna be an emo
Yeah, I say
kid.
former, but what I mean by that is I just graduated to goth. I didn't actually like get out of my emo phase. Yeah, no, it
Yeah,
never
yeah, yeah.
happened. But
It
like,
sticks
yeah.
around for sure.
For sure. Yeah, I'm also really interested in the music videos released for this album. I definitely notice a running
Oh
theme
yeah.
of rawness throughout Dirt Buyer 2, and the music
Hmm.
videos really seem to underscore that with gorgeously shot performance footage with lots of vermilion hued lighting on Fentanyl's music video, and a series of shots of you chopping wood, followed by shots of fire for gathering logs. Both videos are visceral to me because I feel like they portray a sense of feverish urgency, and can you tell
Mm.
me a little bit more about your choices to include these types of shots in your music videos and how they function in tandem with the album's themes?
Yeah, I mean the fentanyl video, I wanted it to portray what it's like to see Dirt Buyer live.
Hmm.
Um, because I feel like the live shows are really important. Uh, I think like the other half of the record is like the live show. Energetically, it is important context
Yeah.
for listening to the record or just Dirt Buyer in general.
Hmm.
Um, and then the Gathering Logs video, I think it was my partner who was like, you should just make a video of you furiously chopping wood
Mm-hmm.
for this song.
Yeah.
And um I just thought it was a sick idea.
Yeah.
So I got some of my friends to help me shoot a video like that and make it, make it an actual thing.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's as simple as I thought the idea was cool,
Mm-hmm.
and it ended up working out.
Yeah. I definitely think, yeah, because the tone of your music is very much heavy and expressive, and I feel like chopping wood is such a
Yeah,
literal way to act that out, just
for
hacking away at
sure.
something, for sure.
Yeah, I think that the way I perform is the same way that I was chopping the wood, just like really going for it.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I don't think I was doing it right. I was sore for like the next week. I remember waking up the next morning and being like, "Oh God, why does my whole body hurt?" And my
Yeah.
partner was like, "You chopped wood for like 4 hours yesterday."
That would explain it. Yeah. Let's talk
Um,
gear. What would you say was
sure.
the most essential piece of gear to the sound of Dirt Buyer 2?
In 2019, I we did a tour with Surf Curse,
Mm-hmm.
and like halfway through the tour, we ended up in Nashville, and I went to this little guitar shop,
Mm-hmm.
and they had this 1960 Hagstrom Viking it was so beautiful. I'd never seen one before.
Mm-hmm.
And I played it and it just like melted like butter in my
Wow.
hands.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it's still, I mean, I've been playing the Jesus guitar
Yeah.
kind of as a meme, but
Mm-hmm.
also because it's like, amazing instrument, but I don't think I have a nicer or better sounding guitar than the Hagstrom. So I
Mm-hmm.
ended up buying it and I asked the shop if they would ship the guitar that I was previously playing back to my mom's house in New
Mm-hmm.
Jersey. Um, so then I just, yeah, played the rest of the tour with that guitar. And then when we got back, we recorded the whole thing using it. And I think that's, I don't know, probably a super important thing, like inform the way that the guitar tone was going to sound.
Yeah.
And then I had this Electro Harmonix Deluxe Memory Man pedal that I think
Mm-hmm.
is basically the sound of the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's this really awesome delay vibrato pedal that just has this really specific sound and it's just so creamy and beautiful and I just wanted it on everything.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I did notice
Hmm.
that a lot of like there's kind of two sides to the album's guitar tones, the really ethereal sorts of like lush verse types of sounds, and
Yeah.
then the really, I guess, like axe chopping sort of
Yeah.
guitar where it's very much heavy and you're kind of just throwing yourself at it and it's just
Yeah,
it really hits you. I really like that. Yeah, just like
for
a
sure.
very prominent duality. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lastly, if you were stranded on a desert island and could only take three pieces of gear with you, what would they be and why?
Um, I'd probably take the Hagstrom
Yeah.
with me and then two changes of strings.
Mm, there you go. Three pieces of gear. Do you have a
I just
specific
grow my
set of
fingernails out.
strings?
Yeah,
Mhm.
my absolute favorite string company is an upstate New York based company called Labella.
Mm,
They hand make all the strings, or they like use one of those super old really big string winding machines,
Hmm.
and I've just never used anything that I've liked the sound of or feel of more than
Okay.
labella strings. So shout out to labella.
Well,
They're
very
very
nice.
sick.
Hmm. That's interesting. With other artists I've interviewed, they've always been like trying to make the most resourceful choice where it's like, oh, I'm gonna bring a sampler so I can have a workaround or like a keyboard and like a
Yeah.
power supply or something. But that's interesting. You said a guitar and two sets of strings.
Yeah.
That brings me back to like what you said about prioritizing the core songwriting instead of all the
Yeah.
effects and things you put on top of it. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
chatting
for
with
sure.
me. Yeah,
Thank you
this
for
is
having me. I hope that uh, I answered your questions
yeah,
sufficiently.
for sure. Absolutely. I feel like I've learned a lot about your songwriting process and how this album came to be and what you put into it.
Very cool. I love that.